right, here we go, episode 2. Grit Sessions. We still ain't named it yet, whatever, it don't matter. I sat down with my buyer, my lumber buyer. I sell lumber. I know this shit. I deal with it every day. My guy's been selling, he started in this industry in the 70s, became a procurement guy in a management role in the late 80s, and he's been doing it ever since. I wanted to shed light on some of the misinformation / disinformation, damn near, going on about lumber pricing, shortages, and all that stuff. So I'm not going to talk to you long here. Me and Butch went for about 30 minutes. I think we got some really good stuff. So I'm just going to cut it over to that. And let's see. Any questions? There is going to be a part 2. I've got another guy I want to talk to when he gets back from the beach. Another guy that I really trust from a distributor standpoint. One of my reps who is in direct contact with multiple mills as well. I just want to get a different side from him, but it's going to be a lot of the same stuff. I'm going to tell you, Butch was a little bit positive about how much longer we've got out of this, and that was surprising to me. That was the most surprising thing. But, here we go. Without further ado, my guy. All right, Butch, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Just struggling through like everybody else.
Yeah. Wanted to bring an expert on, wanted to talk and just kind of see, what's really going on in lumber? Why is it so damn high?
Well, it's very simple. We're in a supply and demand market. And supply got altered when the COVID scare came out last March. People started laying back. A lot of things happened to curtail production in anticipation of everything going to pot. Mm-hmm. And it had the exact opposite effect. All of a sudden, people were not at work. They were being paid through unemployment plans or whatever. So decks were being built. A lot of people were from the retail
more time at home, so they wanted to have their homes a little bit nicer.
I mean, my wife and I did the same thing. We didn't do it ourselves, but had somebody do it during that period of time. And so anyway, a lot of the do-it-yourselfers or the retail side of the business flourished. I mean, I don't know if you went by some of the big boxes, but they were just piled up with people getting lawn and garden stuff during the summer and things of that nature. So that created this demand that the mills and the producers were not ready for.
Yeah.
And they were having the same problem with the COVID employees, or people just like everybody else was, is that they had to do the quarantine, they had to do the 6 feet apart, all the criteria that we were trying to do to keep people from getting sick and to protect our employees. They started working people from home in the sales force. Most of the people I were talking to during the time were there. But anyhow, so you've got this real gap in getting things out. As that started to close back, as the demand kept going higher and higher and higher, they just couldn't keep up with production.
Yeah.
Now, this goes back even further than that to when things were rolling so well that the mills were doing great and had everything going full blast, to when they reached a point of overproduction. They started shutting down, closing down facilities or curtailing shifts and so forth. So they weren't making a lot of money back then, let's say a few years ago. Mm-hmm. So now you've got the exact opposite. They've got a huge demand. They're at these prices, they're producing everything they can as fast as they can. Lumber market's never been this high that I can ever remember. I've been in this business for 40 some odd years. But what's happened is, like I said, you just got this demand. Housing's at just a phenomenal pace with all this going on.
Which is insane to me.
And well, but if you look at the remote, they say a lot of it, you listen to the news, you listen to all the people that supposedly know, but you've got a whole generation out there that were living with their parents later into the 30s and 40s. They've now moved or can work from home. So they're moving. They're able to move because they can live in an affordable place. If you're in a large metropolitan area, you can go out, 40, 50, 60 miles outside of the area and find an affordable housing. Whereas if you had to live in downtown Nashville
or come somewhere like Tennessee from up north where there's no income tax and things like that.
And there's a lot of retirement taxes.
Yeah.
And all that's driving Texas, Tennessee, Florida. especially on the retirement side of it. You look at what's going on down here with Tellico Plains. There's a real shortage of lots in our area, which has created a pent-up demand from that standpoint with the large builders, large tract builders. But anyway, so that demand's there. They're building. People are buying houses. We're selling material. We're at an all-time, company-wide, we're at an all-time pace for the year. So this demand is real.
Yeah. And so some of the people, like what you get, some of the weirdos of the internet, they're talking about that these lumber yards, and these sawmills are just stockpiling lumber, and they're just creating a false.
I wish that were true.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
At these prices, it would be almost ludicrous to believe something like that, because they would never have gotten more money out of the material at any time, like I said, that I can ever remember in history.
Oh man!
From what they're getting, I mean, they're getting finished lumber prices right now for framing lumber.
It's insane.
It is, but at some point in time, it'll saturate the market. People will give up. Already where I'm hearing that, the home improvement and all that, people are starting to go back to work.
Yeah.
Things are lightening up. They can go back out and do things. So that's kind of dropping. The home improvement and all that's, from what I'm hearing, is kind of dropping back. Now, I'm not an expert on that. I don't study it, but I'm just hearing what I hear from a lot of the people. But everybody's still pretty busy. But still, the housing market's still there. And how high will they go as far as home pricing before that bubble bursts?
Yeah.
And the banks, from what I understand from talking to people on board of some of the banks around here and so forth, the banks are flushing money. So they're lending they're out there to lend money. That's what banks do, right?
Yeah.
So they're out there trying to lend money. They're taking a little bit more risk than they normally would. And a lot of it is going into mortgages or into bridge mortgages, where people are buying a house. Like I said, people are moving from one area to another. They want to go ahead and build their home or buy their home here while they can because of the market. So they're doing bridge loans so that they can cover that until they sell their house back wherever they're from. So you've got that going on. So all this cash is in the economy. And right now, I know a lot of people are suffering because of what happened in the restaurant industry and whatever, and what they done the bailout. But out in 2008 and 9, when our industry got just decimated by the banks and some of the things that went on because of the short sight they had or the short end of the mortgage loans and all of that.
Sure.
Well, they sure didn't do any stimulus for us. They didn't do any. There was nobody for the people that were out of work.
Nobody was helping us.
That happened to me. So I was out of work for 2 or 3 years, and at 50-something years old, couldn't get hired. But
seriously,
but there was seriously that but nobody in the administration right then thought to do what we're doing right now. So thought-wise, it took us 10 years to come out of that recession. So now they've learned from that, and they're pumping money, trying to pump money into the economy. So that's creating a lot of cash flow. When you got the cash, people will spend it. Well, they spend it on houses at this point. So you've got all these things going on, and it's never any one thing.
Yeah.
But now the people that are really in control of the situation are the lumber mills. They are they buy these timbers, or they buy the timberland that they run out of, far in advance to what they know what the market's going to be. So, and I'm sure that's going up now. I don't keep up with what comes out the forest.
So you're saying they go ahead and when they actually when they have a lot or whatever, when they have a field to process full of timber,
they've got X amount of time to do that, but they can choose when they want to fulfill that contract.
Okay.
And I know in hardwood up in the mountains in North Carolina, we had some property that had hardwoods on it. I think they had 12 to 18 months to cut it at that time.
Okay.
And that was a select cut. It was a little bit different situation this with pine, where they mass produce it, and cut it. But that's still, those contracts are out there with the growers. And so that's a whole different side of it.
Yeah.
But the mills are primarily the ones that are driving the market, because the demand's there, and when you got more people trying to buy stuff than what you can produce, then the price is going to go up. I mean, that's just that simple.
With
it's just
09,
going up and up and up.
With everything like 09 or whatever, you've got to think there were probably a lot of mills that just never opened back up.
Well, not that they shut down forever, but a lot of them sold out.
Sold out?
You look at the consolidation within the lumber industry. You got, the people like Interfor, Weyerhaeuser, and some of the other ones that are buying up a lot of the southern pine mills, can for.
Yeah.
They're buying up a lot of the cans, small independent pine mills have over the years. I mean, this didn't happen since '09, but this has been over the last few years that they've done that. So that pine industry is consolidating too. There's still a few mills. There are people out there that are independents, or have a single mill or whatever, and we buy from a lot of those people.
And a lot of all pine is America.
Pardon me?
All pine is in America, right? Spruce is Canada.
Well, some of it is. Some of it comes out of the United States. Most of what we import from Canada is spruce.
So, have there been any issues?
There's eastern spruce comes out of the northeast. They get Doug fir. There's all kinds of species. Spruce kind of, as you look at the gray market, it's a spruce pine for a mixture.
Yeah.
And depending on what region of the country you're buying from and who you're buying from. But most of our spruce, you're right. Most of the spruce that we buy comes out of, or that I buy, try to buy out of, comes out of Western Canada. Western
Canada. Now, Canada subsidizes land federally.
They own, what I understand. They own a lot of the land. I think that's what it means. And they can control the price of the timber coming out of the forest.
And are they having more issues getting it across the border right now?
Well, you got the tariffs, and you've got some of the things that have been put in place that to keep them from dumping.
Yeah.
And doing those type of things, which hasn't been a problem.
When you say keep them from dumping, what does that mean?
Well, they could come in and saturate a market.
Oh, okay.
Let's say that they literally had enough that they could do that. In times that lumber mills don't stop. One of the fallacies that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Thinking about them sitting on lumber. You think about the acreage and space it would take to store 1 million board feet of lumber. And thinking that they can produce that, how fast they can produce that with the automated mills, they'd be rolling over into stuff if they didn't ship it.
Yeah.
So the mill philosophy is at any price, whether it's high or low, you manufacture it, you ship it.
Yeah.
And they're on the sales department. You get out there and sell that lumber, get rid of it, and keep it moving.
I can't tell you how many times we were working on some of our big 6x6 orders that we were doing a while back, that it would basically be we would contact somebody at the mill and they'd be like, "Oh, Johnny's on the saw today." And that's my salesman. And he's out there cutting it. Dude, Johnny needed this boost in money. So spruce, pine, issues with that. Just what do you see happening first? These prices keeping decline or just a rapid drop?
Well, there's a lot of debate about that right now. We could see, and we have seen, a year ago, of $100 a 1,000 board feet of lumber we buy, of course, 1,000 board feet, but which is a huge drop in our industry in a single week, and we've seen that run for several weeks in a row. This year, conversely, we've had weeks where we had increases of over $100 a week, which is just crazy. But what it's going to do is anybody's guess. If we knew that, I'd be doing something else.
Sure, yeah. We wouldn't be here.
But the way we look at it, the way I look at it, is that you basically got an upper third, middle, and the lower third of the market. Mm-hmm. You know where the ranges are, and right now we're way up above that upper side of the market. Mm-hmm. So the downside risk right now, and the market is slowing down. As far as pricing, we get price lists every week, which is a culmination of what they poll the mills and get the current price on different products that they sell. Mm-hmm. Whether it be plywood, OSB, 2x4s, 2x10, or 2x4s, 2x12s, number 2 pine, spruce, hem fir, Doug fir, whatever they're selling, and we get a composite pricing on that. Mm-hmm. And you look at those numbers right now, and they're starting to settle down a little bit. Mm-hmm. When it drops, if it's going to, a lot of people say, "Nah, it's just going to ease down. We're not going to see," because there's still a lot. The order files are still out into the end of June now. I think in the mills, they've still got that much on the books. And when they've got order files and the mills book, then obviously that's going to keep the price up.
Yeah.
But when this thing turns, it can turn fast and it could fall, very rapidly. It could be half price inside of a month.
If all the track builders just decide to stop, and we're on the hook for longer.
Yeah, well, it depends on. If you hit Texas, California, the real big markets, if they slowed down, it could. We quit building Knoxville, and it wouldn't affect the lumber market one bit.
Yeah.
That's just, you got to go to the big areas where they're building a large amount of.
And we can't stop buying. at any given rate, we can't stop buying with the prices this
Can't
high.
take care. Well, you got to take care of your customers.
You
I mean,
got
our
to take
first,
care, yeah.
first and foremost, the jobbers, the wholesalers, the mills, they can say, "Hey, we're out. Sorry."
Yeah.
When we get a customer to come to us and say, "Hey, we can't take care of you," you may never get them back.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, yeah, we need them. They don't need us.
That's
like
right.
we are ancillary to them.
Well, you'd like to think that it's a hand in hand operation, but most of them don't. There's too many of us out there. I mean,
if you think of it like a restaurant, going back with your restaurant comparison from earlier, if I go to a place and I want a steak for the wife, we're out of steak. Sorry. You might not go back to that place. You might not take that gamble again,
yeah.
and you might take your business elsewhere.
And like I said, that's exactly right. Because there's plenty of people to buy lumber from if they have it. And that's the key to it right now is that we're seeing a lot of people that come in and expect us to have this stuff, and we don't or can't get it within a week or so. Most of the stuff I'm buying right now are 4 to 6 weeks out.
Yeah,
we're not buying for today. We're buying for the future.
Yeah, and that's
that's a gamble with the way things are right now. It's a real gamble because this market could drop.
It used to blow my mind, and like that's one of the other things that makes me mad about this when people are thinking we're just holding on to lumber and stuff like that. It is so much harder to sell a job right now when you have to talk to the guy and you have to tell him, I don't know how much this costs.
Yeah, well, they call it price time of shipment, and that's the way we buy a lot of the pine right now.
Price time of shipment, meaning this took a while to get through. I had a couple people that had some questions for you. Will prices go back down?
Sure. I mean, eventually they will.
It has to, right?
They'll catch. Yeah, we've been through these ebb and flows in the market, just not to this extreme, but our market's never stable. I mean, it's always on the up or going down, one way or the other. So.
Somebody's saying in British Columbia, tiny pine beetles have destroyed enough lumber to build 9 million single-family homes because there aren't enough mills open to work with it.
I have not heard that, but it wouldn't surprise me. They had a real beetle blight up there a few years ago that was really affecting the quality of the lumber we were getting out of certain parts of Canada.
Oh, for real? Okay.
And and that's supposedly they've worked through all those logs and all of that, but still we don't buy from a lot of those mills today because of what they went through.
And this one sounds weird to me. Huge barriers, Canadian logging restrictions. The AAC annual allowable cut reductions have hampered supply. I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
Well, no, and like I said, I don't. We don't buy. The way we buy our spruce is through brokers, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't buy direct from the mills on the spruce market.
Yeah.
That's not. And you got to remember one important thing.
Yeah.
I'm giving you things from our perspective. We're an independent lumber mill in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Family owned.
Family owned. Been around for forever. Mr. Witt raised me in the business. I started here. First time I went to work for him in 1977. He came out of the wholesale and retail in the business, but he's been a buyer all of his life.
Yeah. In
the lumber market, he's the one that trained me years ago. So we tend to have a certain perspective of how we buy lumber that works for a building material company.
Yeah.
Not everybody does things the same way. It's just how we go about it. So it is a niche or a niche what we do and what we see. Because, like I said, a lot of our business is done on commitments for people that we've done business with for years, that they have those relationships. Yeah. Which has kept us in business, because if we hadn't had them, we wouldn't be able to get the material because they could have sold it to somebody else.
Yeah, and that's the relationship thing that's good for us.
That it works for us, yes.
And so, you're saying, this is us speaking as a small operation, just a one-off operation.
We're an independent.
We're not like a box.
We're not a small. It's kind of a relative, I guess, to an independent with a single yard. we're not we've got 2 locations, but we're not a multi, like Choo-Choo out of South Carolina or some of the regional. And
I've worked for some regional guys in the past, and they have purchasing offices in different states, and they can borrow from different yards and things of that nature. So let's say just like a Depot Lowe's, not to single them out or anything like that, but how do they buy? Is it all brokers, everything?
Well, of course, a lot of their business is on contracts.
On contracts, yeah.
Because they're buying in such large quantities for a diverse population of stores that are spread all over the United States. how they do it and whatever. I've never worked for them, so
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, obviously, Home Depot, those guys know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're one of the smartest people in our industry.
Yeah.
Their bottom line's better from retail or whatever, and most of theirs is retail, where most of ours is contractor. But,
Yeah.
But those people know what they're doing, and like I said, they have their way of doing it, but we don't have that, that kind of need.
Yeah.
That to go out and buy 50 cars.
I'd lose my mind. I'd lose my mind. But yeah, some things that we do, like they do stuff off contracts, we do stuff off relationships, which a lot of the sawmills, they're the same way. I mean, other than like the big boys and stuff like that, like we're calling just
it's gotten so bad. I don't know what's going on, but I've heard some rumors that some of the mills were not going to start ordering. We're going to quit honoring their contracts, and I don't know if it's a matter of lack of supply, that they can't physically. I've heard that from some of the mills. We're having a tough time keeping up with our contracts. Yeah. And they're what they call off the market, which means they're not taking orders from people that don't have contracts with them. Yeah. Because they literally can't handle the business they got.
And they're having to turn away a lot of good people.
And then, so you hear these things. I mean, I don't know, because like I said, I'm not on that, buying on that scale, but.
I won't name names, but I'm pointing at a place that you can see, and I know several of the contracts that they have that goes out, it's negative margin. Like they're losing money on framing packs.
Hey, lost leaders in this business is not a strange thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been times that the boxes have sold 7/16 units OSB cheaper than I could buy it direct from the mills.
Yeah.
But they're, like I said, they do it for a purpose. They know what they're doing. And they're very good at what they do, but they're getting people in the store. So when you go in and you buy that, that loss leader or whatever, and then you have to pick up this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other is where they're making their money.
Yeah.
And the thing we haven't developed that a lot of people have that really haven't developed in our industry is the continuous revenue stream. We don't have a subscription service. We don't have anything out there.
Every month you get a sheet of OSB in your mailbox.
Yeah, that's I mean, it sounds ludicrous, but it's the name of the game.
Man.
Is that continuous revenue stream? But those guys are, they're maintaining their business. They're maintaining their competitive edge. They go at it, and we just have to set a step back and watch them.
Yeah.
Because the big boys can go out there and they can start playing games that we choose not. We could play it, but we choose not.
We choose not to. Yeah.
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But we're more selective about it, I guess.
And we don't have corporate overlords to pay.
Well, but the one thing about being small is that our flexibility, we can move fast, and we can react to things a lot faster.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we do so well on the commercial side of the business, that we can tend to be more flexible and do things for them that they need that the residential guys don't need. But the money's in the residential side. The volume of money, it's in the residential.
Sure. Just taking a cow pasture and just turning it into a subdivision. There's so much money in that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what D.F. Horton's done around here, or the Testaments over the years, or the Smiths and Schubert's. I mean, these people that have been big time developers in this town.
Speaking of Horton, what they've been doing in Texas, something I've heard, and I don't know a whole bunch about it. I might try to allude into it later. But apparently they were taking like full subdivisions that they were building, and they were selling it to one broker for rental properties.
I've heard some rumors of that. Well, they said one of the problems around here, even from the real estate agents, is that you got people coming in from out of town that are buying property for rental.
Yeah.
So they're competing against the people trying to buy homes.
It's insane. Right now, I'm selling my house. I'm selling my house right now, and the number 2 bidder that was in on it that we kept as a secondary was the real estate salesmen, they believe that there's going to be a 10-year home shortage, which I think is bullshit. I think it's just led into them just to make them just buy. Don't make this stuff slow down. So they're buying houses and renting them and then hedging themselves against having 3 houses and making profit off of the 4th one for rent. And I don't get it. But they're talking about a 10-year home crisis level shortage.
Well, there is a shortage now.
But obviously. Not 10 years. 10 years.
Well, I mean, you think of the time it takes to, and this is where I think that may be coming from, but from the time you go to submit a piece of property for approval,
sure,
to final permit,
yeah,
takes a while.
Yeah.
And from the government standpoint, or which local governments to get all through all that, to get through the financing, to get through the actual grading and so forth, and then once you get all that done, then you can start building. And we've seen that, or at least I did it back in the '80s when it was going, just booming over in the Research Triangle over in North Carolina. We went over there looking for some land to buy. People I was working for at the time, and it was just crazy how fast the lots were getting eat up by the builders. Yeah. They were literally having lotteries that the developer would pick 4 or 5 builders that they liked. They would draw the lots out of the hat, so to speak, and whichever lot you drew is what you built on. Jeez. You didn't have a choice. And then once the lot became able to permit it, you had to pay them cash for it right then. So the developers were really on the driver's seat during that market because land was so, because it was so hard to find lots and find developed land. And that maybe what we're talking about, that process to get all that and catch up with that demand may take that long. I don't know. I mean, one of the guys, banks brought in a guy here a couple of years ago, and he was going through the different markets in the North City and East and West Knoxville and South Knoxville and all the different, how many lots were in each area and how many they normally sold and what was consumption was. Well, you got to figure that used houses right now are so much more affordable than a new home.
Okay.
And the availability to a larger part of the market, when you're going in and looking and spending, like Teleco, you're looking at a mid 2,500 square foot house, maybe whatever, for almost $500,000 with vinyl siding.
With vinyl siding.
I mean, that just blows my mind.
$500,000 in vinyl siding.
$500,000 house with vinyl
Ain't no
siding.
place like East Tennessee.
And that's it's an expensive market here, and down in those areas. But like I said, that timeline to get back to where we're at full capacity on housing or for meeting that need, I heard the other day from somebody who was talking about it on TV that they're from listing to contract, average days on the market was less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think substantially less than 2 weeks, but I know it was less than 2. I can't remember exactly what they said.
We were 48 hours.
Well, you hear a lot of people list it on Friday, sell it on Monday.
And we had the offer on within like 6 hours.
Yeah.
But we waited.
I mean, it's just crazy. Yeah. And but like I said, when you got a range of, let's say, from $150,000 to $500,000 worth of houses, and you're selling that quick, that doesn't take you long to run through your inventory,
Not at all.
But then and you see people like D.F. Horton going further out, in the country, developing these subdivisions, and farther and farther away from the mainstream town. But like I said before, as people work from home now, or can work from home, then that need to be close by is no more.
It's no more.
So is there? And I don't think that's going to change. I think there's a large down.
There were some overpopulated areas, and then they're spreading out. So those areas up north and out west and stuff that people are moving down here, are there too many houses available?
That I couldn't tell you.
It just would make sense.
I don't keep up with the real estate markets that much, other than locally, I see. But the reason I hear that people are moving out of Texas, California, out of New York and California is just taxes.
Taxes, yeah.
Especially when it comes to the death taxes, because you look at how you bang for your buck. If you retire on, let's say you retire on $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
You and your wife both work, and all you got is Social Security. Let's say, this is for an example. Let's say you both can pull down $60,000 a year of Social Security.
Yeah.
How much is that going to bring in outside of New York than what it's going to bring in East Tennessee?
It'll bring nothing in New York. You will be homeless in New York. You'll be homeless.
I'm just saying that. Well, you hope to own your own home. You hope to have most of all your expenses covered. But if you didn't have a nest egg, I'm just saying, if you didn't have a nest egg, you could live in Knoxville, Tennessee on $60,000 a year.
Oh yeah, easily.
As two people.
Easily.
Could you live anywhere in New York, not just the city, but anywhere in New York?
Even outside, yeah. And that's why they're coming down here and they're snatching up houses, because they've never seen a $200,000 house in their life.
Yeah.
They're like, I thought it was fake. I thought I was buying a picture. I thought I was buying a lot.
You can imagine people moving out of California.
Oh, it's insane, dude. I've got a cousin out in California who was wanting to start flipping houses, and he said, "I'm thinking about buying this one for 800." And I was like, "Dollars?" It was like 800,000, and it was a flip. I was like, "Wait until you get down to Tennessee. Don't buy a thing. I'll show you what I can get you in Maynardville for $40,000."
Well, and the thing about it is that's probably not more than 1,000 square feet.
It's insane, man. It's insane. But then we've got some of that stuff here. Like there's some projects that I've done some like very high end, small, expensive, but I don't know.
Saddlebrook does that. They built a very nice, and it's, I guess they seem to be related more to a older community, small lots. Not a lot of maintenance. In fact, they may take care. I've never talked to them about what they do. They probably take care of the maintenance. But the houses are very nice, very well done, very high end, all brick construction, or exterior rather, not all construction, but brick exteriors, and are very finished, very nicely on the inside. But they get top dollar, but they are a nice home.
Yeah.
And you see that in a lot of the top end builders, whether it be out in Hardin Valley or off North Shore or even towards Alton.
Yeah.
Loudoun, But Tellico's a different market. Now that's a whole different market down there. And I think they get more per square foot out of Tellico than they do out of Knoxville.
As they should. I guess.
Well, I don't know, because lots down there are pretty cheap, from what I hear. If you're not on the water.
If you're not on the water.
Yeah, lots are pretty cheap down there, so I don't know. But anyway, back to our lumber side of it. To answer your main question, one, as far as I know, and as far as the people I'm talking to, who I've known for years and trust, nobody's stockpiling anything.
Yeah, ain't nobody stockpiling.
They can't, and nobody, if people were buying it, they've run through it, because who would have thought the prices would have gone this high?
Yeah.
I doubt anybody's set on lumber for the last 18 months.
No.
May have. But if you go back from September.
How would they not sell it? It's going to go down eventually. It's not something like
how greedy do you want to be? If you can triple your money, think about it. A year ago, in September of 2019 to September of 2020, lumber tripled.
Yeah.
Insane. And it's gone up since then.
Yeah.
I haven't checked it lately, but we're probably up maybe 4 times now. But literally, I checked it back when we did our taxes because of our LIFO and where our price were. It was literally, about double. Now everything's double or triple, but in the lumber business, the lumber side of the business, what we keep on the yard for framing, that has gone up literally 3 times its value in September of 2019. It's just
it's insane. What it is.
And that's the publications. You can prove that it's not just something somebody pulled out of a hat. It's in the pricing.
I just don't understand. I understand some people have to build, commercial guys and stuff like that, but when a wall is 4 times the cost, why?
Because they can. Well, you take somebody like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
From what I understand, they do very, very well. Of course, they're a very well run company. They have great customer service.
Ate there this morning.
And but they have a real following. You can't go anywhere. I don't care where it is. You go by Chick-fil-A, that they're not,
and they're buildings
10 deep in both lanes.
And the buildings are built really well.
Well, they hire good contractors.
And
we furnish a lot of them.
It's plywood on both sides of the wall.
But they hire good contractors. I know the people around here that built. I had a girl I used to work with down in Georgia. Her husband, that's what he did. He built in Texas.
Yeah.
He would go down there and put together the teams to build the Chick-fil-A's and so forth. He just worked on a contract with them. But they, they're a very well run company. But they can make enough money that and like I said, how long it takes them to pay for a building, if it's 6-7 years or whatever. Well, in the long haul, short haul, whatever. You see them. You look at these fast people that are rethinking their whole way of doing business. They're tearing down and rebuilding right now.
The cheapest, they have no real overhead. I guarantee they have to, their turnaround to be flush on a new location has to be months with how fast they roll.
I don't know if it's
months, but just the way
I don't know their
they could have people directing traffic.
But I just hear that they are very well run, and everybody's I've ever heard associated with them to say they're a very fine company and they're very well run. Not to say that others aren't, but I'm just saying that's just one that I see still to this day, regardless of the price, are building their new locations.
But like when you look at somebody like that project I actually just left, somebody doing an addition on the backside of their house, a lot of cedar, a lot of epay. I can't give them a price until it's like time to like, yeah, we're pricing it right now. I will reprice it the day I order it when you say, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee that, but that's it. Whereas it used to be a lumber estimate, they would run 30 days, typically, sometimes. But yeah, it was a pain in the ass. Yeah, that's your side that hurts. But now, I mean, it's 7, but it's not even 7.
The key to that is it's subject to prior sale, subject to mill acceptance.
Yeah.
I can call today and get a price. It can change tomorrow. Honoring it is up to the mills. I mean, they choose what they want to hold and what they don't.
They hold all the cars. Is there so getting the stuff out, is it purely like a production standpoint, or is there also like a trucking issue or anything like that?
Well, the trucking issue, freight, as everybody knows, drivers are real hard to find.
Yeah. So
freight is going up. You're talking about increase in prices. Freight's going up too. It's gone up, let's see, basically about, 30, 38, 40%.
Yeah.
Here in this year.
Yeah.
For a freight bringing it in, and that's out of the South.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like coming out of South Carolina or Alabama, or if you get over in the central area toward, or I say Alabama, it's probably 40-45% over there a little bit. So what we were paying. So
if you had to guess, how much longer is it going to be crazy?
Months.
Like not years?
Months, I think, personally.
So 2022. Very possible we're back.
I think before the end of the year we'll see prices, come down a little bit. Now how much, I don't know. I'm just saying I think we'll see prices starting to break. Okay, I think we've reached a saturation point where people are now starting to say, do I want to pay that much? Especially with the homeowners.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of people saying, hey, they've stopped their project. 1, they can't get the stuff. Like you said, 2, they can't get the price on it. And 3, they're just not, they're not willing to pay the 2 or 3 times price what they can get it for maybe in a year from now.
Yeah.
If they don't have to have it done.
Yeah.
So and people are going back to work. Like I said, you're not having everybody stay at home and not looking for something to do. So
all right.
I'm sure that's affecting also.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
Anyway, but it's we're in a small little world here. We're in a kind of a niche little market, but as an independent, we're still surviving, doing well, and holding our own. So I guess we'll just keep going like we're going.
As I knock on wood.
As we knock on wood.
All right, cool. Butch, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, that was our guy, Butch. Informative. I mean, yeah, I learned some stuff. I hope you did too. You see it from a family-owned small company. We're going to do a part 2 with this. I've got another rep. When he comes back in town, I'm going to sit down with him as well. And we're going to see it from another angle. We're going to look at this from different sides. Yeah? Yeah, well, that's what we're going to do. So this is very interesting. This is very fun to me to see. Is it fun to you, baby?
What?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what? That's how I feel. But yeah, thank y'all for watching, man. But there will be a part 2 coming up soon here in about the next probably 2 weeks or so. But yeah, just stay with me. Like, subscribe.